All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a huge shift in how we deliver software. And I mean, this isn't just about some new tools versus old tools. It's a completely different philosophy, a whole new way of thinking about automation and reliability.
So let me just kick this off with a question that really gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. What if your production environment could automatically fix itself? Just think about that for a second. The idea of a self-healing system, that's the core concept we're going to unpack.
And look, this isn't about choosing one tool over another. It's a true paradigm shift. We're moving from a model that is process-driven. You can think of that like following a recipe, step 1, step 2, step 3, to a model that's state-driven. That's more like setting a thermostat in your house. You don't tell it how to heat or cool, you just tell it the state you want, 72 degrees, and you trust it to make it happen.
All right, so first up, let's talk about the way things have been done for years, the absolute backbone of software automation, the traditional CI/CD pipeline.
For as long as most of us can remember, this has been the standard. Something happens, usually a developer commits some new code, and that kicks off this whole predefined sequence of jobs. The entire goal is to push that new code out into the world.
It's like an assembly line, right? It's a very linear, step-by-step flow. Code gets committed, it gets built into a package, it runs through a bunch of automated tests, and if it passes all of that, it gets pushed out to the live environment. And this is the key thing to remember. Once that final deployment step succeeds, the pipeline just dusts off his hands. Its job is done. It has no idea what happens next.
Now, this is where things get really interesting from a security perspective. In this model, the CI/CD server is an active player. And to do its job, it has to hold the keys to the kingdom. I mean, the incredibly powerful credentials it needs to connect to and change your production environment. That means your CI server is basically holding the master keys to your entire production castle.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty good, right? It's worked for years. But there's a huge blind spot, a crack in the foundation that silently undermines everything over time.
We call this problem configuration drift. And really, it's just a fancy way of saying there's a growing gap between what you think is running in production based on your code and what's actually running out there in the wild. This is where systems start to get really fragile and unpredictable.
And listen, this happens all the time, and usually for totally understandable reasons. It's 3 a.m., the site is down, and an engineer makes a quick manual hotfix to get things back online. They're a hero, right? Or the security team has to rush out a critical patch and can't wait for the next release cycle. These things are necessary, but every single one of them introduces a little bit of drift.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. Let's say our config file, our source of truth in Git, clearly states we need 2 copies, 2 replicas of our application running to handle the normal traffic. But then, boom, a sudden spike in traffic. An engineer, trying to keep the site from crashing, jumps in and manually scales up to 3 replicas. Phew, crisis averted. But now look, the reality in production no longer matches what our Git repo says is true. And that, right there, that is configuration drift.
And when you have dozens, maybe hundreds of these little changes over time, it's exactly that, a silent erosion. Your system becomes brittle, hard to figure out, and frankly, insecure, because your supposed source of truth no longer reflects reality at all.
So this is a pretty fundamental problem, right? How do we fix it? Well, this is where a completely new model comes into play, one designed from the ground up specifically to fight drift, GitOps.
The core idea behind GitOps is actually beautiful in its simplicity. It says your Git repository is the one and only source of truth for your entire system. And importantly, it's declarative. It doesn't say how to build the system, it just describes exactly what the final desired state should look like.
So instead of that CI server on the outside pushing changes in, with GitOps, you have a little agent running inside your environment, and its only job is to constantly pull the latest desired state from Git. Now look at the security implications of this. The production credentials, they never ever leave the cluster. That huge attack surface we talked about, it's just gone.
This creates this incredible self-healing loop. Remember that thermostat analogy? This is it in action. This agent is constantly in this cycle. Compare what's in Git to what's live. Detect any difference, any drift at all, and then reconcile. It automatically forces the live environment back into the correct state. It's relentless.
Okay, so we've got push versus pull, a process versus a state. What's the bottom line? Why does this shift actually matter in the real world? What's the payoff?
Well, when you lay it all out side by side like this,
The benefits just jump out at you. With GitOps, drift detection isn't an optional extra. It is a core feature. The security model, as we've seen, is way more robust. And your audit trail? It's perfect and all in one place, just as a natural side effect.
And I really can't overstate the security improvement here. Think about it. In the old world, if someone hacks your build server, it's game over. They've hit the jackpot. They have the keys to production. With GitOps, that whole class of attack just vanishes. The build server simply doesn't have those keys. There's nothing to steal. And for anyone who's ever had to deal with an audit or a compliance review, this is an absolute game changer. You're not scrambling to piece together logs from 5 different systems anymore. Nope. You've got a single, bulletproof audit trail right there in your Git history. It tells you everything, who made the change, who signed off on it, exactly what changed, and the precise timestamp. It's all there.
So let's just sum this up. This is so much more than a new way to deploy code. We're moving away from just automating a process, a series of steps that runs and then stops, and we're moving towards architecting a system that can continuously guarantee its own state. It's a shift from managing one-time actions to ensuring continuous correctness.
And that really leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take back and think about with your own systems. Are they just built to be correct in that one single moment after a deployment? Or are they truly architected to stay correct, to heal themselves and fight off drift every single second of the day? Thanks for watching The Explainer.